Hello, Pisces, and welcome to my channel, Tarot by Gabrielle. This is going to be a general reading for Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus signs, looking at your recent past, your current energy, and your immediate future, answering the question, what does the divine want you to know right now? As always, I've gone ahead and pulled the overall energy for the reading for your past, present, and future, as well as the overall theme for the reading. I have the tarot deck already shuffled that we'll be diving into, as well as the decks that I'll be using in the extended. Any information on the extended reading or on booking a personal reading with me is in the description box below. All right, Pisces, you guys have been, I feel like, in what I can only describe as like a recovery period. Because in your recent past, you have keep your heart open with forgive. Now, I really see this energy as there's something did you dirty here. And I feel like it's something, it almost caused you to recoil, to close your heart off, and to start to kind of go into self-protection mode. Not necessarily defense mode, but just protection mode. Now, I feel like you are on the brink of coming out of this, but I feel like there's going to be some action or something needed on your side of things that can help you fully release yourself from this energy, because I feel like you've been stuck in this energy. Because in your current energy, you have know your worth and know you are loved. So whatever this is that you've been going through, it's teaching you your worth. It's teaching you that you are loved beyond the people around you, right? You know, you are loved by the universe. You are loved by yourself. Now, it's interesting because both of these are new moon cards. It's the new moon in Taurus and the new moon in Libra. So some sort of a new start, I feel like is like I kind of said this already, is coming your way. Because the overall theme for the reading, which we'll dive into the future in a second, but the overall theme for the reading, you have adventure and laughter. And I don't necessarily feel like you've been missing this, but I certainly feel like you've been wanting more of this, more of like the good times, if you will. I feel like that's really kind of been lacking because you've been in this recovery period. Now, in your immediate future, you have go wild, with push through any insecurity. So what I'm seeing is it's very obvious that whatever happened brought a lot of your fears, doubts, and insecurities to the surface. And I feel like you've been having to work through a lot of that, but it's taught you a lot. And then I feel like once you're able to push through all of this, and you have this go wild card, which almost is like this, it feels like this like rebirth card that, like this rebirth kind of energy that you've been wanting for a while, kind of like Phoenix rising from the ashes kind of energy. But let's start, Pisces, by looking at your recent past. Recent past for Pisces, clarifying, keep your heart open with forgive. This is for Pisces' recent past. This is for Pisces' recent past, please. Oof, okay. Some major disappointment. Like just like sadness. It's interesting because I don't necessarily know if it's like a loss. It could have very well been a loss, but I feel like it more just feels sad. It feels devastating almost. And I feel like it kind of turned your world upside down a little bit. I mean, that's what I'm kind of saying with this Four of Wands card in reverse, right? Like your world upside down. And it left you with this energy, this Five of Cups energy, this feeling really, and this is the energy that I feel like you've been stuck in, is this Five of Cups energy. And that's what's been so hard, it feels like, to break yourself out of. Let me get more for Pisces recent past. Now, I feel like you've learned a lot through it, but you're still kind of dealing with being stuck in it. More for Pisces recent past. See, but there was a reason this happened. The Judgment and the High Priestess in reverse, there was a reason that this happened. And when you can find the reason behind what happened, you'll be able to release yourself from this energy. So you've learned a lot, but there's like it's a big lesson here. There's something deeper than just the surface. Let's see if I can get more on that here. And it almost feels like when you find this truth, it clears you from this, because you're kind of in this overwhelming, like you're just overwhelmed, and I feel like it's hard to see the truth because you don't even really know how you feel. And so I feel like it'll provide you with some clarity here on both what happened, but also on your future direction. More on this energy for Pisces, please. Yeah, it's why something had to happen with this Three of Cups in reverse. So definitely loss of community here. The people that you gave your time and energy to on a day-to-day basis, there was a separation from them. Could have been just one relationship. It could have been a loss of a job or something. Like, it's the loss of community or loss of people around you. Not sure if it was your choice or not, but it's like this Judgment card, it's really speaking to me about this, like, there's a reason why this happened. There's a reason why things played out the way they did. Let's get more for Pisces recent past. I don't know if I'm going to be able to tell you that reason, or if that's going to be for you to have to uncover, Pisces, but let's see. I'm going to try. Recent past for Pisces. Recent past for Pisces, please. Okay. This is interesting because it feels like you thought things, and why I feel like this was so hurt, like why this hurt so bad, or why this felt the way it did, is because I feel like you thought you had a lot of hope. You had a lot of hope for what was coming, and then it kind of feels like the opposite happened. Now, it doesn't mean that what you want isn't possible, because and I feel like that's what happened, is like you had a lot of hope for things kind of playing out the way you wanted them to, or playing out the way that you had hoped, and when they didn't play out that way, it got you really into your head about, like, well, then they're probably never going to happen the way I want. Like, things are never going to be as good as I had hoped. And that's not true. It's just that they're not going to play out the way that you thought. They just didn't, you're not getting there the way you thought you would. That doesn't mean you're not going to get there, if that makes sense. Let's see, though. Current energy for Pisces. Because I feel like there's this energy of feeling kind of alone, or I don't know, like, not that you are alone, you could very well be surrounded by people, but like feeling very isolated in your experience right now, feeling very like no one understands you, like what you're going through, and you feel like no one ever will. That might be true, but it doesn't mean that you're alone, right? You don't need people to understand you to not be alone, to have other people support you. Current energy for Pisces, clarifying, know your worth and know you are loved. Current energy for Pisces, please. Ooh, okay. So this is talking more about why things had to fall apart. It's almost like you're starting to understand, because with this Empress in reverse, this is an energy of not being valued, not putting yourself first, not putting yourself in situations where your worth and your time and your energy is appreciated to the extent that it should be. And I feel like whatever situation fell apart, it's because of this. You weren't being valued. You weren't being seen at your core for who you were. I feel like maybe there was appreciation for your intelligence or your looks or your abilities, but whatever it was, it didn't appreciate you for who you were at your core. And I feel like that's ultimately the reason here. It almost feels like you weren't choosing yourself, so the universe kind of had to choose for you. Now, stick with me because I feel like we'll get more insight into that. Like, it almost feels like whatever happened, whoever you were distanced from, they didn't see your value, or they weren't worthy of having you in their life. Okay, current energy for Pisces. Queen of Wands in reverse. I want more on this because this is kind of that like not taking action energy that I was feeling. Like you weren't, it's almost like you knew you were being treated poorly on some level here. But it almost feels like you weren't doing anything about it. Maybe because you valued having someone or something in your life over valuing your own worth, which we've all done at some point or another. So there's absolutely nothing to, feel shameful about when it comes to that. But it feels like there's this level of putting someone or something a little bit on a pedestal. And this is a cycle. The World in reverse. This is a cycle that you have been stuck in for a while, Pisces, where it feels like you just always seem to get the short end of the stick. All right. Current energy for Pisces, please. Current energy for Pisces. So it's this situation is teaching you a lot about your worth and about understanding that you should be loved and appreciated for, and I've already kind of alluded this and mentioned this, but for who you are, not for what you bring to the table. That shouldn't determine how you're valued in the world around you. It shouldn't determine what's on the outside and what you're capable of. Those things are fantastic, and you should absolutely be proud of yourself for the certain aspects that you have. But they shouldn't determine your value. And I feel like whatever situation that you were in, what you were bringing to the table was more important to the people around you than who you were, than the value that you held at your core. And I feel like that's why this had to fall apart, because when you find the people that are meant to be in your life, you don't have to show up as your best self every day to feel appreciated. They appreciate you for who you are. They see you for who you are. They understand you. They acknowledge you. And you don't have to, it's like, you don't have to prove yourself. That's what this feels like, is this level of you feeling, and not that you were someone that thinks you have to prove yourself or anything like that, but the people you surrounded yourself with, it feels like there's this level of feeling like you needed to prove yourself. The Seven of Cups, the Two of Pentacles in reverse. And right now, I feel like it's interesting. So you see how he's wearing this mask here? And then to me, this skull is who you really are. But it's almost like you have to, it almost feels like when, around this person or these people, you had to take who you really were out of the equation and put on this mask so that you would be accepted. And that's not fair. That's not fair to you or to anyone, right? We should be able to be loved and appreciated for who we are at our core. And it's possible. Those people exist for every single one of us out there. All right, immediate future for Pisces, clarifying, go wild with push through any insecurity. Immediate future for Pisces, clarifying, go wild and push through any insecurity, please. Immediate future for Pisces. But I'm going to I see here that the situation is bringing a lot of your insecurity to the surface. There's absolutely no doubt about that. There you are. See, this is what you've been feeling like. You're the Queen of Cups with the Ten of Wands here. You've been feeling very burdened. And it's almost like you've been carrying other people's burdens in a way. Like taking on the burden of how someone else judges you or sees you, when in reality that has nothing to do with you, right? What other people see about us, and especially how they judge us, especially if it's in a negative way, that has everything to do with them and nothing to do with us. Now, this burden, you've been carrying it around for a really long time. And I feel like and that's why you've been struggling to find this, like you have this laughter, adventure, like go wild card. You've been having it hard to find this like free version of yourself. Because I feel like you don't feel like you can be 100% yourself, or at least you haven't felt like that. Let me clarify this for the Queen of Cups and the Ten of Wands. Especially, not necessarily like you can't be yourself, but with whatever, like this certain people or this certain person. Clarifying the Ten of Cups. Ooh, overthinking. So you've been overthinking, and you've been stressed, really stressed, Pisces. In your immediate future, it feels like needing to kind of just, I understand how frustrating this advice can sound when you're in the middle of it, but like, let go. Let go. Let it go a little bit. Because yes, what happened, it very obviously hurt. But you don't have to carry that anymore. You don't have to carry the weight and the burden of that. You don't have to wonder if you did something wrong, or if, like, learn your lessons, right? Take accountability for your side of things, see the role you played, but then be able to say, okay, now I've learned my lesson and I can move on. You don't have to hold that, because I feel like there's a lot of, well, what if I did things different, or did I do something wrong? Like it feels like there's this level of overthinking yourself into oblivion, and that's a really heavy burden to carry for anybody. All right, immediate future for Pisces, please. The overthinking is what is sabotaging you. The overthinking is what is yeah, there's the Hangman in reverse. There's this need to just let go. Because when you start to overthink, you start to tell yourself different, and not just you, anybody. You start to tell yourself different stories. And you start to believe those stories, and then those beliefs become your reality. So if there's a part of you that's internalizing shame or guilt or anger, all of those emotions are necessary. You have to feel them, and you have to work through them and move through them, but you don't have to hold on to them. They don't have to control your narrative. And I feel like a little bit of what's happened is that you've allowed what you've been through and your interpretation of it to control your narrative of the future, instead of learning what you need to and being in control of your narrative moving forward. I hope that makes sense. Immediate future for Pisces. One more for Pisces, immediate future. One more for Pisces, immediate future, please. That was too many. Clear, concise messages for Pisces, immediate future. Do your hardest, Pisces. Do your best. Do your hardest. Do your best. Try your hardest to redirect your focus from what happened to why it had to happen. When I was dealing with recovering from the emotionally abusive relationship that I was in, um, for the longest time, I was so focused on what happened, and that stirred me into anger and honestly a lot of guilt and a lot of shame because, then I start getting into the whole narrative of like, oh, well, I'm the one who stayed, and things like that. And it's true, I did have to forgive myself. But then once I shifted my mindset from what happened to why it had to happen, and I started trying to uncover, um, why this situation had to unfold in my life, I started to realize I needed to learn my worth. I needed to learn what I was deserving of, and I needed to learn it in a pretty big way. And I needed to learn how to both give and receive love without attachment. I needed to be able to do a lot of things that I was unable to do before this relationship took place. And I'm now very grateful for that relationship. I mean, it was horrible and it put me through it and it completely destroyed me and so on and so forth. But the lessons that I acquired because of it were so much more important than what had actually happened. And so this is what this message feels like. You have the Four of Cups with the King of Pentacles in reverse. It's like, don't focus on the circumstances. You've already focused on them. You've overthought those into oblivion. You already know what happened. You know the ins and outs of what went down. But start to try to shift your perspective to why. Why? Why did this happen? Why did this happen the way it did? Because that will allow you to let go and start to move through this instead of feel so stuck in it. Because you feel stuck in it and you feel like you can't get out of it. And I get why. I'm not saying you're in the wrong or anything like that. Your feelings are absolutely valid, but you don't deserve to be stuck in this anymore. You deserve to be able to move through it. And that's exactly what you're going to be able to do once you're able to shift your perspective on it. All right, Pisces, I am going to hop on over to the extended. We're going to clarify these messages and jump into some advice, and then I have an actual advice card to pull as well. So thank you so much, Pisces, as always, for the support of my channel. It does mean the absolute world to me in ways that you do not know. So thank you, and as always, I wish you nothing but love and healing on your journey moving forward. I have the hiccups out of nowhere. All right, thank you, Pisces.